Upinder Randhawa there on 100 days since the Birmingham riots. Now, November the 14th is always something of a sombre night in Coventry, as it marks the anniversary of the terrible night when large parts of the city were flattened during World War II. Well, this evening, a special event is underway at the cathedral which attempts to look to the future. Dr. Jonathan Foyle explains.
71 years ago today, Coventry suffered a ferocious attack. Waves of German aircraft targeted the city in one of Britain's worst nights of bombing during the Second World War. It was a long, brutal bombardment that left more than 500 people dead and much of the city centre in ruins. But Coventry survived, rebuilt itself, and today few obvious signs remain of what happened back then.
But there is one. Coventry's old cathedral was the most shocking, highest profile victim of the bombing raid over the city. Today, its shattered medieval ruins still stand as a striking witness of the city's darkest night.
Now, after more than 70 years, the walls of this old place are starting to fall apart. Its future is under threat. But I think this site is far too important to lose and capable of achieving more than it does today.
Let me show you why I think it should be saved.
Old St Michael's was built toward the end of the Middle Ages and was originally a grand parish church. In fact, it had only been a cathedral for just over 20 years when the bombers struck. Now, what's left is starting to show its age.
So, David, where is the crack? When did it happen?
Well, it appeared to us in early September when we were beginning...
The stonework's cracking, and that's expensive to repair. But there's a strong feeling here that these ruins can't be allowed to crumble because of what they represent.
The ruins stand as something really quite powerful, as a powerful reminder of war, of its cost, of the human tragedy of it. And therefore we do have a potential here to continue to develop that theme on this site, not just about 1940, but about the ongoing human cost of war among civilian populations.
So the cathedral authorities want to preserve this place as a monument to war victims in Coventry and far beyond. And Old St Michael's certainly is a striking memorial. But these ruins have another valuable role to play. They can help us understand more about the history and people of this city.
So the crypts are down here, George?
Yes, you can see the two doors here.
When Coventry's new cathedral was built after the war, the crypts from the old building were sealed off. Now, though, some have been opened up, revealing a hidden part of the city.
So here we are in the second crypt.
From the open air to real atmosphere, isn't it?
It's an amazing space. We know that there's another crypt through there, much larger.
And then there's that. What's that all about?
Yes, this is very interesting. This is full of rubble, we think, from the November Blitz. And we think this crypt was just used as a skip, basically.
Crypt as a skip?
Crypt as a skip.
What do we know about it?
We know nothing because it's, there's no record of it, no photograph, so we don't know the size of it or anything.
So, George, what would we gain? What could the excavation of this area and its presentation tell us?
It tells us about the wealth and the investment by wealthy Coventry merchants into this great parish church and why it's so big, and also why we can see from the position of this chapel that it was actually quite a small church when it first started, because this was standing on its own. It's a story of the success of Coventry in the late medieval period.
And that's a story too few people know, I think.
No, it's been forgotten.
So Old St Michael's can give us a glimpse of Coventry in the late Middle Ages, of its wealth and its success. But there's more. This place can also shed a multicoloured light on the city's artistic past.
In the Middle Ages, church architecture with large Gothic windows was the framework for the display of stained glass. It was a very expensive form of art. Extremely attractive, it also told the story of common life, of the encyclopedia of creation and stories from the Bible. And one of the greatest of all of British stained glass artists came from Coventry. His name was John Thornton.
Thornton is probably best known for the stunning Great East Window at York Minster. But his stained glass also adorned Old St Michael's. And what few people realise is much of it survives. all because someone had the bright idea to remove it before the war. The windows were dismantled into more than 2,500 pieces, a treasure trove of glass that lay forgotten for years. But now we have the chance to put this amazing medieval muddle back together.
Mike, you've got all kinds of faces here, and they represent religious stories. That would seem to be John the Baptist down there somewhere, but certainly saints with their halos. You've got ladies here in contemporary dress from the late Middle Ages, and you've got bearded men as well. So to me, all of the life, the character, the people from the late Middle Ages, when Coventry was at its peak, are still here to be met.
Indeed. This is a very, very important aspect of Coventry's heritage, which to date has really not been very well publicised. It's not often that you can get as close as this to pieces of art, glass art, which were produced in the Middle Ages.
Mike, what would the value be to the city of Coventry if this glass were cleaned, understood, publicised and put on display?
It would make Coventry a centre where glass of great importance could be viewed by all those who are interested in all areas of art history, and it would even be a tourist attraction for the city as a whole.
So Old St Michael's can tell us a great deal about Coventry's recent and distant past. It has so much to offer, such potential to be useful and inspiring, and we shouldn't allow this to slip away. That's why today a campaign's being launched to raise £1 million for this historic site.
Old St Michael's and what it stands for cannot be lost. But with shared funding, with protection, opening it up to the public, we can optimise it, make it useful. And then these ruins will become a gift for future generations.